Hi, I'm Brad. Today I've got a video update on the difference between the early model Subaru STIs as in the version 6 and the version 5, and right beside me is the 4-door Australian delivered version 6. Now I'll put a link at the bottom of this video to our previous video where we did a detailed review of the 2-door version 5, and in that video we spoke about what the differences were, but we didn't have this car here to show you. So the good opportunity is this particular car we've been also looking after quite some time. In fact, back in 2006 we gave the engine a big birthday, and the car really hasn't done a lot of kilometres since, and it's come back in for another service and a clutch repair. So what we'll do in this video is show you the differences of what you can expect to see between these early models. Remember, this is built 11th month 1999, so it's effectively called an MY 2000 model. Most people call it the version 6 because back then that's what the typical model descriptions were known as. So let's just look at the differences and what you can understand. But you'll also notice the intercooler at the moment is disconnected, so it's a great opportunity to see what the engine looks like without the intercooler connector. We're about to pull the gearbox out because it needs a clutch repair. This is the throttle body. On those cars in those days, it's a cable throttle. All new model cars are now got electronic throttle without a cable anymore. We've got the turbo, we've got the compressor housing off the turbo, which then feeds into this hose here, because normally the intercooler sits like this. And you'll notice, being an STI intercooler, it's silver, whereas the WRX ones were black. And if you wanted to know the difference also is these models had a bolt-on flange connection for the blower valve. So the compressed air goes in through the underside of the intercooler, goes around through the cooling coil and out through the throttle body connection and into the inlet manifold. Now when you take your foot off the accelerator, it generates a vacuum in the inlet manifold, which then opens the blower valve, which dumps boosted air back out through this hose, goes around, and then the underside comes right back and goes into the inlet pipe, which leads into before the compressor housing of the turbo, and hence the way the blower valve works. So other small thing, if you're wondering about tuning your factory ECU, yes, this car you can, and the easy way to tell, it's got a flange connection for the blower valve. The previous model had a pipe that come out of here with a blower valve connected to the pipe and then another pipe, and they're the ones unfortunately that can't be tuned. And separately, if you've got a modified intercooler and you don't have that anymore, the other way to tell is it's got the coil pack offset sitting on the top of the inlet manifold. The previous models had the coil pack in the middle. If you've got the offset coil pack, then that is also the later model engine ECU that we can tune. So let's talk about this particular model itself, other than the fact that it is an STI, as you can tell by the, unfortunately, the badly deteriorated painted red inlet manifold. But this model back in 1999-2000 came with a factory fitted carbon fibre strut brace, and that was one of the unique features of the car. But the small thing I spoke about in my other video is, you see this spoiler on the front here? This was unique to this model. The previous model never had a spoiler on the front. Of course, it had the fog lights with nothing in behind, but it had this on the side. And then on the back, the other distinguishing difference between this and the version 5 is, if you look carefully, it's effectively a gurney flap. The version 5 model had a flat top of the wing. What Subaru did on the later model for this particular model, they increased this, which increased the downforce on the back. And it's not as aggressive as a gurney flap on a race car, but effectively still has the same features and benefits of the way it works. So of course, 4-door model has a factory fitted rear windscreen wiper. Let's just look at the interior, because again, it was pretty good interior on this particular car, and you can see it's fairly well looked after. Momo steering wheel, the white STI cluster on the dash, the leather gear knob with the red stitching, and of course the fantastic seats. And this model probably still one of the best models for seats if you can get your hands on these ones. One thing I will point out is you'll notice this one actually not too bad, but some of the seats are collapsing underneath where the frame bolts to the base of the seat itself. There's not a lot of material there, and the spot welds break, and you end up with a seat that flops around a bit. Pull the seat out, you can re-weld it, put it back in position. You'd be staggered how much more fun your car is to drive without a floppy seat in place. But of course, this model comes with the 5-speed transmission. It's got the stiffer centre diff because it's got the viscous centre diff. And for the rest of the model, you can see on the back, it's got the sliding piston caliper similar to the version 5. And we've since fitted the DBA slotted rotors, but this particular model come out with ventilated rotors on the back. And then of course on the front, you can see we've fitted the DBA slotted rotors sometime in the past. It's got the 4-pot fixed piston caliper on the front as well. And this particular model, if I remember rightly, I'm pretty sure it came out with these factory pink struts. That was one of the other unique things. And of course, being an STi model, it's got the aluminium lower control arms, whereas the WRX model had the steel ones. So there you have it, pretty good memory refresher on a fairly unique model. These cars, if you can get one that's in good condition, and this one is particularly very good condition, they are becoming worth more money. Unfortunately, if you're in the US or overseas, other than Japan, these cars were never actually sold. There was a limited number of them went into the UK, but they were never sold in America. And but in Australia, we're very lucky there was a limited number of these cars sold. So, of course, if you want more information, you can contact us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter and Instagram. Make sure you share this video and subscribe. Love to see your comments, and have a look at the other video as well on the previous model. But for now, my name is Brett Middleton. Thanks for watching.